was already here in the Americas, so-called Americas. So they escaped that judgment, but see, that didn't stop them. They pursued us. Go ahead.
For the day of the power is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. It shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head.
Right. So what they done to us, it has to be done to them. Read that again. Call it out.
This is Obadiah 1, verse 15. For the day of the power is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. Right,
your reward shall return upon thy own head. Get Jeremiah 17:9. So what they done unto us, it shall be done unto them. All these nations, in fact, I got a nation sign. All these nations have had a part in our captivity, including today. You still have to go to one of these nations to buy anything. To do anything, you have to go to these nations. But starting with the so-called white man, the Edomites. You got that? Right.
Jeremiah 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful of all things and desperately wicked.
Right.
You can know it.
The heart is desperately wicked. What is the heart? It's not talking about the heart in your chest. It's talking about your mind. Your mind is desperately wicked. Especially this man you call President Trump. Go ahead.
The Lord searched the heart, and I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways.
Right. So Trump wants war. He's going to get war. The world is going to turn their back on America and burn this place up with thermonuclear fire. Go ahead.
And according to the fruit of his doing.
The fruit of his doing. America's President Trump is ruffling a lot of feathers. Other nations. And other nations are going to take a violent act towards America. Go ahead.
Jeremiah 17, verse 11. As the partridge sitteth on eggs, and hatcheth them not, so he that getteth riches, and not by right, shall leave them in the midst of his days.
Right. So how was America built? How was America built? Was it built in a good, righteous way? No. It was built on the blood of the Israelites. And it's still functioning on the blood of the Israelites. Go ahead.
And that his end shall be a fool.
And that's what's happening. That's why all this shame is coming out on America. That's why America is becoming a shameful name. In fact, America means bitter. It's becoming a bitter thing to be known as an American as America falls. Hollywood is full of perverts. The Congress, your government's full of perverts. It's a shameful thing to be called American anymore. Go ahead and get Mark 2, verse 17.
Mark 2, verse 17. When Yahushua heard it, he saith unto them, they that are whole have no need of the physician, but they that are sick.
All right. So in that place, it would have said Jesus. A lot of people believe this is Jesus. This is not Jesus. This is a man. His name is Caesar Borgia. He was part of the original crime family in Rome. He was the son of a pope. This image was done by Angelo. They also had a lot of artists as Leonardo that helped in this image, where they tried to wipe the face of the men of the Bible. The men of the Bible would have actually been so-called Negro, not white. Moses would have been today a Haitian. He would have been a so-called Negro. Jesus today, if you seen him today, you would think this is his image, and you would be deceived. The Bible describes him the King James Version describes him as a so-called black man. All right? Go ahead.
I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance.
Right, he didn't come to call for the righteous. And see, America thinks it can make itself righteous. It says it feeds the hungry, it cares about the poor, and at the same time it's destroying. It destroys thousands of people at a time. It's a hypocrite. America is a hypocrite. Go ahead.
Mark 2, verse 18. And the disciples of John and of the Pharisees used to fast, and they come and say unto him, why do the disciples of John and the Pharisees fast, but thy disciples fast not?
Right. So they're trying to find them at fault. They're not looking at a spiritual eye. That's what's wrong with the majority of people today. They don't have a spiritual eye. They're carnal. Okay? A woman judges her husband off of his physical physique instead of the man's righteousness. The man judges a woman off her physical physique instead of her righteousness. So it's corrupted. And that's what the Pharisees were. The Pharisees were corrupted. Go ahead.
Mark 2, verse 19. And Yahushua said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them?
Right, so he's giving him a parable story. He's telling him about a wedding. You don't fast when everybody's together. You're not sad when everybody's together. You're mourning when you're apart. And that's what this is. This is a place of mourning. This ain't a place of fun and party. You go out and you get drunk and act a fool, a cop will end your life. You go out and commit adultery, another man will end your life. This is not a place of heaven. This is a place of death. Go ahead.
As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast.
Right. Just as long as he was here, they couldn't get through that suffering. We're in that state of suffering now. The more and more every day we're here, we're crying out more. Because we can feel it, not even in the flesh also, but I mean in the spirit. You can feel it in the spirit. You know, you can feel it in the flesh. Like our dollar is perishing. You can see it. You go to the store, you can't buy as much as you used to. Things are changing. The rent, price, places, apartments, they raise the rent on people. So that's a physical, a carnal way you feel it. But spiritual men can feel it in the spirit, in the mind. They can see it. This is the coming of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Go ahead.
Mark 2, verse 20. But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them. And then shall they fast in those days. Right,
which we're in now. Which is the time of grace. This is why grace is not a party like the Christian churches show you. Grace is the time to get your shit together. You're supposed to be acting right. But people use the time of grace to do whatever they want. If you don't pay your rent, they give you 3-day grace. Does that mean you don't pay the rent? No, you still got to pay the rent. Well, that's the same thing with the Most High. He gave you a time to get right. If you don't get right, He's going to put you to death. Go ahead.
Mark 2, verse 21. No man also seweth a piece of new cloth on an old garment.
Right. And this is talking about men. Men's faith are like garments. Some men's faith is used, abused, offended, and is no good for nothing. But then there's some men that have great zeal. They're just confused because they don't pick up these scriptures and read them. Your so-called Christian churches are lying to you. They're lying to you. This image is not the true biblical image of who they call Jesus Christ. This is a man. This is what is in the Bible. This is what is described in the Bible as Jesus. Go ahead.
Else the new piece that fills it up, taken away from the old, and the rent is made worse.
Right. So we give this truth over, and it'll offend some and make them even worse. They'll go even wicked. That's what, hey, the ones that hear it are his people. You know, he said the sheep know his voice.
Mark 2, verse 22. And no man putteth new wine into old bottles.
Right. Into old bottles. You think you know everything, and you know nothing. That's why it's called being born again. Or do children know anything? Do babies know anything? So how do you say you know anything just because you read the Bible once? You know nothing. That's why you go into these Christian churches and get robbed every Sunday. Go ahead.
Else the new wine doth burst the bottles, and the wine is spilled.
Because it's alive. It's growing. It's fermenting. So it'll shatter that bottle for growth. Go ahead.
And the bottles will be marred, but new wine must be put into new bottles.
Right. Into that virgin spirit. See, the men of the elect, they calls them virgins, but it's not talking about them not being with women. It's talking about them having a new understanding. They're new bottles with new wine. That wine is this doctrine, the truth. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that he went through the cornfield on the Sabbath day, and his disciples began as they went to pluck the ears of corn. And the Pharisees said unto him, Behold, why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful?
Right. And a lot of people call today Sabbath. It's Sunday. A lot of people go to church and they think they've done very well. But they have failed. Because this is not the Sabbath day. Go ahead and drop that and give me 1 Corinthians 15:39. Or you know what? Give me 38. Verse 38. 1 Corinthians 15:38.
First Corinthians chapter 15, verse 38. But God giveth a body as it hath pleased him. And
right. So the Lord does as he wills. The way you are made, that's the way the Lord wanted it. And that's what's wrong with this society today. They changed everything about themselves. The devil uses his magic, which they call science, to change people's looks, to change their form. Go ahead.
And to every seed his own body.
Right. So every man's body, every woman's body was issued exactly how it was supposed to be by the Creator. That shows how wicked this society is. How much everybody tries to not be who they are. It's a lot of confusion. Go ahead.
All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another of fishes, and another of birds.
And just like that was divided, also are the nations. A lot of people ask about race, but who created race but the Most High? The Creator is the one that created the different colors for a reason. It was a sign and a wonder. Go ahead.
There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial.
Right, just like we got into. You know, they're reporting seeing so-called UFOs over Denver last night. Well, these are signs of the times. These are the signs of what's to come. And they're not, and the chariots are not coming in peace. They're coming in war. Go ahead.
But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another.
Right. Just like a star has beauty, but it's different than when you go into the mountains. It's the mountains have beauty, but it's not the same as looking at the stars. It has a beauty of its own. Go ahead.
There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon.
Right, and glory means beauty. It's a beautiful thing when it's a warm, nice day. It's a beautiful thing when it's a nice, cool night. But they each have their own glory, and so does flesh. Each flesh, like we're not supposed to be mixing. We're We're not supposed to be mixing beasts with a different kind of beast, or with human flesh. And we're not supposed to be mixing ourselves with other nations. Like a concubine of another nation, you could pop her, but you ain't supposed to be planting seeds with that woman, because then you're creating confusion. That's why it's called confusion of face. That's a curse on our people. Go ahead.
And another glory of the stars, for one star different from another star in glory.
Right? Just like the Most High's prophets of the 144,000 elect. Go ahead.
So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption.
Right? In these corrupted bodies, in these corrupted times. Go ahead.
It is raised in incorruption.
In incorruption. And the incorruption is these commandments, these statutes, these judgments, this truth. Go ahead.
And it is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory.
Right. And we're the lows of the lows. Like we're the lowest of the minority group. You know, that's what he's showing you. The Most High's chosen men were not of modern day colleges, prestige groups. No, he chose just the average fisherman, which is a laborer. Right?
It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power.
And raised in power. And that's what we are. We're weak men, but we're going to get that power which we have faith in now, and we have a form of that power. That's why we're able to stand up on our own 2 feet right now and tell this nation it's about to be destroyed, and we'd be protected. A few years back, and you wouldn't be able to do that. Soon we ain't going to be able to do this. Trump's trying to get it pushed where you got to start to pay to watch YouTube. That's going to be a famine of the word. Go ahead.
It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body.
Right. These are natural bodies. We're affected by nature itself. You're affected by hunger. You're affected by cold. You're affected by all those things. But in the spirit, we ain't going to have that. Go ahead.
There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body.
And that's coming with these, once again, people call them UFOs, but they're chariots. They're the angels of the Most High. Go ahead.
And so it is written, the first man Adam was made a living soul, and the last Adam was made a quickening spirit.
Right.